It's another episode of the Dunces podcast. Yes, I am back. The last video I recorded, it was by myself again. And I did actually record another one when Kevin Durant got traded, but I never actually posted it because I'm gonna keep it a buck with you. I didn't want to because it was during the trade deadline where a bunch of trades were being made, and I really had like no time because there was so much going on. But I am back, and I'm here to discuss a lot of things. Obviously, post trade deadline now. It's been a couple weeks since, uh, you know, Kevin Durant got traded. What else happened? Oh, Russ got traded and then bought out and now joined the Clippers. Crazy. We already mentioned Kyrie, so I really won't be getting into much detail on that. But I will be discussing how NBA fans, or at least myself as an NBA fan, feel after this trade deadline, which was jam-packed and it was great. So I can't wait to start. And with that, let's start. So, first things first, let's just get the elephant out of the room here. Kevin Durant was traded to, from Brooklyn to Phoenix. That's my team in Brooklyn. As a Nets fan, very happy that finally this whole Kyrie saga was over. This whole experiment, which obviously did not work, is over with. The reason why I'm happy is not really like because I think we got better. Obviously, we got worse. We traded two of the best talents in the league, three at one point with James Harden. We traded them for a package or packages that included players in the likes of Ben Simmons, Mikal Bridges, Cam Johnson, Spencer Dinwiddie, who I love, Dorian Finney-Smith, and a couple first-round picks that we got back here and there. The Dallas Mavericks pick still looks good. Looks even better now at post-trade deadline and how they're looking over there in Dallas. And obviously those picks coming in from Phoenix, unprotected. How good will those picks be? I don't know. I'm hoping they'll be good. But if they are not, it doesn't matter. The thing is that we did KD right by trading him to the team that he desired to go to in the first place, right? Because if it wasn't going to be Phoenix, it was going to be Miami, I'm assuming. But Phoenix just had the better offer for both teams, and obviously they lost two key pieces, two starters, for the price of one. But they got back TJ Warden as well in that deal, which is going really underrated. He's a solid pickup for Phoenix, who is in desperate need of backup defenders or backup helpers. I mean, obviously Warren is a defender, but just outside of that big four and CP3, D Book and KD and what's his face, DeAndre Ayton. They really don't have much. I mean, Torrey Craig is solid, but he's not the best. But they picked up Terrence Ross, obviously, so I'm happy for them. But still, sticking on to the Nets side of things, I give them like a solid like B, obviously, right? Because you're losing two guys that were supposed to win you a championship, or at least get you further than what they did, and we didn't get close to it. I mean, technically we did. We were what, a couple inches away with KD's shoe from going to the conference finals, potentially beating the Hawks. Who knows what would have happened, but we can't think like that, right? We have to think about what's going on now. But as for the Nets side of things, yes, we just got manhandled by Chicago. That was crazy. But overall, the team, I like it. I think it gives me, that 2019, before KD and Kyrie got there, like 2018, 2019 vibes. We were fun with D'Lo, LeVert, Dinwiddie himself, coming back to Brooklyn, Jared Allen, Torian Prince, a lot of these guys that were just solid for us, right? We weren't the best team, we weren't the flashiest team, but we were fun. We were fun to watch. And we were winning. We were winning solid games, competitive games, and I feel like that's going to be the same thing with this solid unit, except now we somewhat have a player to build on, I guess. I mean, I don't want to say you can build around Mikal Bridges. I definitely believe that he's a piece to a championship contender. He just can't be the main piece. You know what I mean? I could be wrong. I could be very wrong. He could surprise each and every one of us, but I think the majority votes, if this were to be voted, majority of NBA fans, agree with me that he is not the guy to build around, but he's a solid foundational piece. And I think, him being there, Cam Johnson being there, hopefully through, we sign him after his contract is up. The overall team is solid. I mean, look, we got a starting lineup that features four new guys, right? Dinwiddie, Finney Smith, what's his face, uh, McCall, Cam, and Claxton. Right, Claxton is still solid. Um, I still think Claxton benefited a lot from these guys, from these superstar talents, because now he's like quote unquote our best player. Obviously McCall is better, but Claxton is, he's one of the best players, one of the best young defenders in the league, one of the best talents in the league, but he obviously is going to benefit with better players around him. So he has a little bit more of load on him, but pause. But he is a solid player, and I'm really excited to see what this team has going for them. Obviously, this offseason is going to be a little different than it would have been if we would have still had our guys in KD and Kyrie. But we had to, get rid of that headache that would have been trying to re-sign Kyrie. Thank God that's gone. Then trying to, find a way to build around KD. Our only, big thing is how do we boost up Ben Simmons' trade value? Because I was clearly wrong, just as many people were, but also many people weren't. They knew that Ben Simmons wasn't going to be that guy. So can we build up that trade value? What team is going to want him? One team really needs a player that does a little bit of nothing. You know what I mean? Like he really doesn't do much, but that's neither here nor there. And obviously, big contract in Joe Harris. Doesn't clear this coming off season, but next off season, what are we going to do with him? We're going to try to trade for him, or trade him. We're going to try to buy him out, work something out. I don't know. And then Seth Curry is obviously leaving. He's not even getting playing time. When he does, it's like garbage time, and he's balling in that garbage time. You know what I mean? Um, but yeah, I don't know. I'm excited because the headache is gone. It's just damn, like we had a fun team finally. In my lifetime, because I knew about the Jason Kidd and Vince Carter, Richard Jefferson, Kerry Kittles, Dikembe, Jason Collins, Kenyon Martin, all them cats, right? Like I knew of them, but I never watched it, right? I was just born during their second time, I think. So I don't know. I'm really not expecting much from this team, at least not this season. Definitely not next season. But who knows? I mean, we can always swing. I think now it's kind of like the Nets just needs to get back to being respected because they're not respected. I mean, they never really were respected, but there was a little tiny, tiny piece there when Sean Marks and Kenny Atkinson were respected. So we need to find that again. But let's move on to the other side of things. Phoenix. Phoenix got a plus. I'm sorry to say it, but KD is one of the greatest, probably greatest scorer of all time, and he's definitely going to end up in people's top 10, top 15 list of NBA players just as a whole all time. Like he's that good of a talent. And yeah, he has a stain on his legacy, I guess you can say, dating back to his OKC days. Never won it with them. Won it in Golden State after a dynasty was already built before him, and then not doing really much with the Nets. Now, obviously, a lot of the stuff with the Nets wasn't really his fault. A lot of it was just poor management. I blame the management wholeheartedly because they shouldn't have allowed these guys to be, the freaking coaches or the freaking GMs recruiting players. Like, bro, like at the end of the day, that's your job, Sean Marks. Like you have to put your foot down. Same thing with you. Back then, Steve Nash. Um, they just never were able to put their foot down because it was a players' league, it was a players' team. That's just not how the NBA should work. I'm sorry, like I don't think that it should ever be that way. I get it, players define their own legacy, but a team it starts at the top. You have to be respected at the top. If you're not respected at the top, no one is gonna really respect around you. I mean, the only player that could actually do that was Michael Jordan against Jerry Krause. But other than that, I mean, you can't really see a success like that. You know what I mean? I could also be very wrong. I could be that, a lot of these teams that have won really clash with their management, but they won because they were just that good, and the Nets just weren't that good. Maybe that's the case. I don't know. From what I do know is that the Nets as a whole, this team was a failure. As for the Suns side of things, as for KD's side of things, I think this is probably one of the best teams you know he has been on, right? I think that young OKC team, after trading away James Harden, they never really had a third guy, you can say. I mean, it was KD and Russ, right? And then Ibaka was solid. He was great. And don't get me wrong, I'm never going to discredit Ibaka. I love Ibaka as a player, but he can't be your third option. I don't think. I think they had to have somebody else, and he would have been that solid fourth option. Then again, the NBA was very different back then, so it could be very wrong. I was what, like 10, 11 when all that was happening. But Then he goes off to Golden State. Obviously, he's the best player, but Curry is right there with him. And then Clay and Draymond, like these guys are. It was a fully dimensional team. And then now in Brooklyn, Kyrie, he's in and out of lineup. Harden for a bit. This Phoenix Suns team with Kevin Durant is the second best team he's been on. Like besides the Warriors, this is the best team that he's been on. I think that has like there's no debating that. Um, CP3 floor general. He's going to put people in their spots, find ways for KD to succeed. DeAndre Ayton's just solid player. Um, he obviously still has a little bit of rift between everybody there, but yeah, at the end of the day, if he's being able to play with these three other guys that are superstars, obviously one is past his prime, but him himself, I think he's going to benefit a lot from this because a lot of less pressure on him. It's just more of like just got to play defense, be a big body. Like at that point, you know what I mean? Um, and that's for the rest of the team. Like I mentioned before, the Terrence Ross pickup was great. The Dario Saric trade, very underrated. Picking up Darius Baisley, I think that is going to be huge addition. I don't want to say he is Cam Johnson, because Cam Johnson is obviously a lot better, but Darius Baisley can, he can fill in that void that is missing, that gaping hole. I think that they have. Now, obviously, I haven't seen all these games since the trade. I don't know even know if Baisley has been playing, but I'm sure that Monty Williams will figure out a way to get him into the rotation because he's good. He's a solid NBA player, and they traded their backup big for him. You know what I mean? So they got to figure out something like that. But the Terrence Ross pickup was huge. I love it. I hear, I'm seeing reports that they want Derrick Rose. Why? They would have campaign, but who knows? I'm not a GM, obviously. I'm just a guy who makes YouTube videos for my two viewers who I love dearly. But with all that, I'm happy for KD. Glad that we did right by him. I mean, I know the whole Kyrie situation we didn't do right by him, whatever, but we didn't have to him. He was a jerk. He was a terrible, terrible player to have. But as for KD's side, he was a professional, true professional, um, and he was quiet about it, and I really respect that about him. And it honestly changed my perception and my viewpoint of him when after he went to the Warriors. And I know this is more of a personal thing for me, but I just wanted to mention it. Like, KD was a class act guy, and I'm really happy to have to have his jersey, right? You know what I mean? Like, it's really cool that he was a part of the Nets organization. So, and automatically became the best player ever to put on a Nets uniform. So that's really dope. But let's move on to some other stuff that happened around the NBA. Russell Westbrook, like I mentioned, he got traded to, and this is the video that I was super excited about because I recorded this video um, the day that D'Angelo Russell got traded to the Lakers. I was like, oh my God, like this is gonna be dope. You know, this is the winner, obviously, and then the KD trade. But I was like, oh man, the Lakers are gonna be fun, and they have been since the trade went down. I believe they've only lost one game or maybe two, but they've won with D'Lo at the point, Malik at the two, LeBron at the three, Vanderbilt at the four, and AD at the five. Like that lineup is solid. Now, I know there might be a couple weeks till LeBron is back with that foot injury, which sucks. That they already lost D'Lo. He got hurt a little bit. He won't be that. I don't think he's gonna be out for that long. But losing LeBron, this is gonna be really, really. If they were already like towards the bottom of the West, this right now is just might keep bringing them down. I mean, who knows? Like I said, they picked up all these other guys. They still have Rui Hachimura. Still have solid rotational pieces. I guess the Thomas Bryant trade really hindered their center position, but even then, Jared Vanderbilt can fill that void off the bench if they want to, swap them two guys around. But Dennis Schroeder has been solid. A lot of these guys have been solid. Honestly, there's no issues with anybody on the team. I will say though, if LeBron was healthy, I think that this team definitely could have, you know, made the top six. I think they're better than Dallas, and that's saying a lot. I know, crazy, but I really don't think that Dallas can mesh the way that the Lakers can mesh like that with LeBron on the court. Obviously, that's different. So because he's not on the floor, I don't know how well they can make it. Can they make the 10th seed? Why not? I mean, whoever's there right now. I mean, I know it's a battle. Basically, the third seed is so close to like the 11th seed. It's a whole lot of stuff. But uh, I just don't see this team winning that many games without LeBron. I know LeBron is 30 something years old, 38, gonna be 39 this year. It, if they somehow manage to do it, it's all going to be on AD. But we all know we can't trust AD. His health is just too inconsistent for this team, and it just might not work. So, looking at it from that perspective, will the Lakers make the top 10? I'm going to say if LeBron is not there at least for 8 games, if he's not there, because those 8 games, I guarantee you they'll win it if LeBron is there. But if he's not, then I don't see this team making to the play-in. But that's just my opinion. I can be very wrong because D'Lo can prove me very wrong. I've seen it before. I love D'Lo. Other trades that went down, with that whole Russ thing, with the whole Russ trade, obviously Russ gets traded to Utah, but then Mike Conley gets sent out to Minnesota. Minnesota's an atrocious team. They are the most pathetic team to watch. I feel so bad for Anthony Edwards. He just had a game the other day where he went like 5 for 19 or something like that. Terrible game, finished with 12 points. He's been carrying that team offensively, especially with Cat being out. It was originally supposed to be only like 3 weeks or like a month or something, but he's been out for an extended period of time. What are they gonna do this coming off season? I don't know, but I definitely don't see. I see the Lakers as presently constructed right now. The Lakers are better than Minnesota Timberwolves, and I believe the Timberwolves have the better players. If I'm being honest, I mean, I don't want to say anything about Gobert. Gobert has always been trash to me, but he is solid. He's a solid player, and then having Mike Conley there, he's a really good point guard, but he's older. Like this team is just not. It's not it anymore. I'm gonna keep it a buck. Like they're not. I don't see them doing anything. In this, I don't see them going into the play-in. If they do, and they have to go up against a team like OKC, like in that 9-10 slot, I don't see them beating. I really don't see them beating any team if they do at any point make it to that 10 seed. I don't know. I don't think they will, but it's just such a bad trade that they made. And now this offseason, I think they're gonna have to trade Cat because you're not gonna get anything for Rudy Gobert. You have to trade Cat because even though this team is bad still, with Cat being down, they were better with him out, right? They're better with Kyle Anderson starting. So I don't really see where they're gonna go from here. If anything, I'd say just blow it all up and build around Ant, but it's gonna be tough. It's gonna be tough for that team. The Clippers. The Clippers were also somewhat a part of that trade. Why? Well, because they signed Russell Westbrook, but before that, they traded for Bones Highland, Eric Gordon, Mason Plumlee. Those 3 pickups alone were my favorite pickups in this entire trade deadline move. That is, again, 2 weeks from a couple days ago. The reason why I love those trades is because Eric Gordon's finally out of Houston. Houston is a terrible team to be on, at least right now. Steven Silas has no control over that team. He needs to get fired, or he needs to walk out because it's not working, bro. Silas, I'm sorry, but go be an assistant again, bro. Come to Brooklyn. Why not? But as for these other guys, Eric Gordon's finally out. And he is an upgrade over Luke Kennard, I will say, because of his defense. He's not that good on defense, but he is a lot better than Kennard is. And there's just something about Eric Gordon that when he is on a team that is looking to win, he's going to try his 110% and he's going to give it his all, right? So I love that about him. So great pickup in that regards. Bones Highland is young. They got him for a couple second-round picks. Second-round picks went flying like crazy, but we all saw that. So getting Bones Highland on a flyer who hasn't really been cracking that rotation because they just picked up Russ, it's still a good pickup. It's a good, point to have there. And who knows, maybe he's like trade bait for something later on that they need. And then pick up Plumlee, some insurance for Zubats, who has been out, and the Clippers have lost these last couple of games with Russ being there. But you have to, they lost to the Nuggets and they lost to the Kings. Losing to the Kings, that was crazy. They lost in like crazy fashion, but lose that loss to the Nuggets. Kawhi dropped 44, right? Like you lost because you didn't have your big Jokic. Though Zubac can't stop Jokic, he's a better matchup than Plumlee is to Jokic, right? And it's not Plumlee's fault. He's just older and he just needs to stop doing a lot of stuff that he does. But he's Plumlee. He's a dookie. So we don't. I mean, I love Plumlee because he's from Brooklyn. He played for Brooklyn, but yeah, no, he's garbage. But I mean, it was a solid pickup, and I like it. I like it for the team. The Russ thing, though, Paul George advocating for it. The Clippers apparently didn't really want Russ, but Paul George being so adamant on it, it's great that he's there. It's great that he's somewhat reviving, whatever's left in that tank for him. My only concern is what next? Where is he gonna go after this season? I mean, I believe he is signed for this season and like non-guaranteed next season. So that's dope. But if he's not, bro, I have no idea what he's gonna do. Like, is he gonna go to another team to be a backup? Like, is he gonna stay in LA? Like, I don't know. Is he just gonna retire? I don't know what's gonna happen, Russ, and that sucks because he needs his flowers. Like, he deserves his flowers. But he also deserves a lot of the criticism too. I think there's a fine line between being just plain disrespectful and just having the facts. The facts are that Russell Westbrook is not a winnable player right now in his career. He's just not. He doesn't do the things correctly. He can't shoot. He relies too much on his athleticism, and he dominates the ball so much that when he throws these crazy passes and nobody is expecting it, he's expecting them to you know to grab to see to think what he's thinking. And at times it feels like he plays so sporadically that he's not thinking. But he still does make solid decisions at times. But it just never culminates into winning, and it sucks to say, but I love the pickup for the Clippers. I really do. I think that they needed a point guard like him because the Clippers are slow and Russ is fast, right? Like Russ is always up and down the floor. He's running around, this and that, blah, blah, blah. But my concern with Russ and this team is how will Ty Lue utilize this team presently constructed to better maximize everybody's capabilities, right? Kawhi is, he's become ball dominant since leaving San Antonio. We see it, we know it, and it's tough to say, it's tough to see it, but that's just the way it is. Paul George is basically their point guard because he's the one that gets everybody involved, and that's not his forte. His forte is one-on-one ISO ball or playing even off the ball, slippery off the ball. Like when he was on OKC, he ran plays that featured Russ with the ball in his hands, but Kawhi can't really do that. You know what I mean? Like there's a lot of question marks. Zubac and Russ, they're both non-shooters, right? So can you really have them both on the floor in crucial moments in the playoffs? Maybe because the game is slowed down, but even then, as the game is slowed down, that kind of like brings down Russ's value on him, of him being on the floor. So I don't know. I don't know. Obviously, I'm happy for Russ that he's on a team like this. If they do make it to the playoffs, they will be a force to be reckoned with because you don't want to go up against Kawhi in the playoffs. Paul George is Paul George, Russ is Russ, but everybody else there, I mean, they're solid. Norman Powell is their sixth man of the year. He has to be. He has to be the sixth man of the year. He's been great, shooting really well from the field. The team is solid, but can they win it? And has this experiment worked yet? No, it hasn't. Can it work this year? Probably, because there's just so much we don't know about the NBA right now, with all these random teams being good, and the West being so up in the air. Like no one really knows who really is the best team. I mean, obviously the Nuggets are running, kind of like taken away from everybody else, but still, like you don't know what can happen because a healthy Warriors team, a team that actually fixes their stupidity. The Warriors can beat the Clippers easily. You know what I mean? So how much does this move the needle? I don't know. I really don't know. Let's see. There's some other stuff that happened. Oh, the Knicks got Josh Hart. They've been balling since. They actually are on like a 4-game winning streak. Might be 5 tonight. Julius Randle, solid after the All-Star break. Same with Barrett. Brunson has been their rock. Brunson should have definitely been an All-Star, by the way. And then can we talk about the All-Star game just quickly? That sucked. Like it was garbage the entire weekend. Shout out Mac McClung, but come on, this is getting old real quick, bro. Like, and the All-Star game itself, like, bro, the draft took forever. I feel like the players knew where they were going beforehand, because why would they have them jerseys ready? You feel me? Like I don't know. And then look, the game it was entertaining. Like the shooting, it's fun, it's cool, it's all that stuff. But like where's the defense, bro? Like I know it's like, dude, like, there's an exhibition, they're trying to have fun. I get it, but bro, like, there's no comp, bro. Like, it's not fun. Like, I'd much rather like that day, I would have much rather have worked at the restaurant that I so much like I deadly dread. You know what I mean? Like, I did not, I found no joy, watching that. But I mean, it is what it is. But anyway, Yeah, the Knicks are solid. Oh, I forgot where I was going with that. Sixers are solid, but Boston is still better. Boston traded for the Muscala. That was a good pickup for them. But overall, it was a good trade deadline. And there's definitely a lot of stuff I'm missing. I mean, Jay Crowder to the Bucks could potentially sway a lot of things for that team. I think the Bucks are like, if it's not them, it's the Celtics. Those two are going to the conference finals, and that's going to be the finals matchup because no one knows about the West. Um, can the Nuggets actually stay healthy enough for the playoffs? And when it comes to playoff time, Jamal Murray will step up, right? But that was in the bubble. How well will he do? This time around, still recovering. You know what I mean? And same thing with MPJ. But the other guys are solid. KCP, championship pedigree, Thomas Bryant, backup center, great pickup for them. I still feel like they need a backup guard, but they already have two guards technically, and the way Jokic plays and Jamal Murray. So who knows? Who knows how that is going to play out? And Memphis is annoying, but we know this. Same thing with Atlanta. Atlanta is annoying, but they've won. They've won with their new Joe Prunty. Joe Prunty, is it? Their assistant head coach, who's technically their interim right now, until Quinn Snyder comes, who just got hired. Shout out Quinn. Um, just a lot, man. A lot going on in the league. I'm super excited to see what each team has in store, especially the good teams, what they have in store for, you know, these next few weeks. Like in the West, it's just so discombobulated. And quickly, in the West, the Kings are amazing. The Kings are dope. I love watching the Kings play. Kevin Herter is my guy. He's basically like me, except he's so much better of a shooter and better in shape and taller. A little cuter than me. So shout out Kevin Herter. Let me shoot my shot with you, my boy. Um, Not that way though. But yeah, it's a fun team to watch, Sacramento. But Tyrese Halliburton, we still love you, bro. Should have let him keep shooting in the All-Star game. I felt like he was getting a rhythm there, and if he would have, he definitely could have brought the game back. But they stopped caring. But with all that being said, guys, please, thank you. Please let me say thank you for joining. And please shout outs out to all your friends, families, guys, dogs, brothers, and sisters. Please like the button, or wait, how does it go? Please like the video, hit the like button down below. Subscribe if you're new, this and that, blah, blah, blah. I don't know. I forgot. I haven't done this in a while. Please.